Welcome back to Switch to Linux. So I wanted to do another outdoor video this week, and I thought Monday might be a good day for it today, mostly because I did not do a video yesterday, as I said I would not. And it is just so nice today. Outside there's a helicopter that's going to be flying over me here in about 35 seconds. Hopefully it's not too loud. So I've chosen as the backdrop here, instead of going to the woods, I've actually chosen a backdrop of the Penn State Main campus business building, because today we are actually going to talk about the pros and cons of consumerism. Oh, I missed my button there. There it is. Pros and cons of consumerism. So I really want to talk about this in light of a few different things coming together. The first of those being that I've been doing a little bit more research and study into consumerism recently, and the reason is I've started working on my third book now. Now all my books are Christian topics, so they're probably not the greatest books for this particular demographic. But my third one is being co-written, and we wrote that before I had my second one out, just because we're co-writing it under a tight 1-year deadline for a very good reason that we'll discuss another time in another place. But the central theme that weaves in and out of that particular book is going to be consumerism. And then, of course, there was a discussion on one of my live streams a few weeks ago about the documentary called The Light Bulb Conspiracy. And on Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, we are planning to do a first ever live tinfoil hat time discussion on the light bulb conspiracy in general and planned obsolescence. I guess also in general, planned obsolescence. But consumerism has its root inside of obsolescence, because there's been a lot of talk like if things did not break down, people would never buy anything new, and I just simply reject that. If in a good economy, the people are making livable wages, and if you think back to not my generation but my parents' generation, what would happen is people would go out and you'd work really hard. You started with almost nothing. You had a car that had a name. You had very little of anything else. If you were lucky, you could afford like a Matchbox for a house or a cheap apartment or something. And then as you'd go through your life, you'd save up more money. Debt wasn't all that common back then. In fact, it was even hard to get, if you can believe it. And as the people grew older, their incomes would go up, their expenses would go down, and they would buy more and new stuff. Now, this caused a problem in the current generation, sort of starting with my generation, but more with the generation beyond, where we're so used to having so much stuff that we want to move out of our parents' house. Like, this younger generation wants to move out of their parents' house, and once they move out of their parents' house, they want to have and obtain the same exact lifestyle that their parents have had. So they had a 50-inch television at their parents' house because their parents have worked hard and saved for 30 years and could afford a 60-inch or a 50-inch television. The kids move out and they're like, well, I want a 60-inch television. And so then they go out and you finance a 60-inch television. And of course now, I remember back when we had a TV. In fact, my mom still has the old TV that I had in like 7th grade, which was an old 13-inch television, and it still works just fine. The thing's like years old. The thing's like so old. It's crazy. But nowadays you get a television and you're lucky if you get 5 years out of the thing. Refrigerators are the same thing. We never got a new refrigerator. We got a new refrigerator in the new house that we bought, and we had that same refrigerator for like ever. I think my mom still has the washer and dryer we had, 30 years ago. I mean, that's just crazy. But now you get a washer and dryer 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They just break down. Parts break down. So we're going to get into this, talk about this. But the thing is, as more people come onto society and as people decide to upgrade the things that they have, there is a certain mindset of people that don't want to upgrade things. But there's also a certain number of people that decide, hey, when the money's good, I'll upgrade. So we do not have to plan into it. And so when we're talking about consumerism itself is that trend, that thing where we just become consumers and consumers and consumers. And that really is, at its core, that's a thing I don't really like. I want to see more in this world. I want to see us as people becoming more than just simply consumers. But if you look at our current culture, the iPhone, new iPhone comes out and people will get rid of a perfectly fine working iPhone simply because it's last year's model. You'll get rid of it and go with something else. That's a problem. And that's when consumerism itself kind of becomes more of a challenge. So we really need to fight back against that. We need to ask ourselves a few key questions. Do we need this product or service? Do we need the latest of a product and service? Do we need to upgrade the product and service when it comes? I guess that's the latest. Do we need to replace the product or service when it breaks down? And those are kind of those questions. So if I can remember those throughout this talk, I do not script these. I have no idea. So do we need the latest product and service? Let's start there. Or do we need a product or service? So do I need a smartphone? There's people out there that certainly need a smartphone for one reason or another. I'm not going to argue against that. I have 2 smartphones because in web design development, A, I'm out and about and mobile, but B, I have to double check, make sure websites work on an iPhone. Do they work on an Android? Now, that's becoming easier and easier and more compliant, so that's less of a problem. But do I need a full speed broadband internet? Do I need a cable? Do I need a streaming service? So the first question we always want to ask is, do we need these services? And I would wager, do we need? Probably not. We need electricity. If you live where I live and it gets really cold, you need electricity. Do I need internet? Well, in my work and my occupation, I do, but for the general well-being of my life, no, I don't. Do I need the latest and greatest speeds, the highest speeds? Do I need 100 Mbps? I'm sure you guys would probably appreciate it if I were live streaming more, live streaming full HD 1080p. That would kind of be cool, but even for what I do in my work, I don't actually need that much. I have a wind burst here. Hopefully it's not too loud for you. So, do we need the latest and greatest? So, do I need to get rid of my perfectly fine working iPhone when the new iPhone comes out? Do I need the latest software update from Android? Do I need to get rid of my S5 because S6 comes out? Or do I need to get rid of my S7 because it blows up and get an S8, which may or may not blow up? I don't know. Hopefully not. But do I need a smart television? Do I need a smart washing machine or a smart egg carton? Mine. But all that's because of these people, business people. Business people came up with a smart egg carton. No. And then let's see, what was my last one? Let's see, do we need the service at all? Do we need the latest and greatest? Do we need to replace the service if it breaks down? So suppose I have a computer. Do I need to replace a new computer if it comes out? Well, maybe. Do I need to replace if my smartphones die? Do I need to replace my smartphones with the latest smartphones? I don't know. And I'm kind of leaning this direction right now where I'm getting so sick of the smartphones and smart technology that I'm kind of thinking I want to go back to a little flip phone. And it'd be cool to just cut down to one phone because, it's the cost. The cost of having the smartphones, of course, is a little bit higher anymore. I don't know. It might be about the same to just have a basic flip phone. I don't know. But all that being said, we have to stop and consider if something breaks down in our house. Like if a smart TV breaks in your house. Let me wait for that wind gust to go away. If the smart TV breaks in your house, do you have to replace the smart TV with something else? If your oven breaks down, you probably need a new oven. Do you need the latest and the greatest? Probably not. And so we have this cultural trend where the consumerism in our current world wants to push us more and more and more and more towards buying the latest things and buying the latest things and updating and upgrading. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that specific central focus on the Wednesday live tinfoil hat time when we talk about planned obsolescence. However, what we need to keep in mind for now is there are pros and cons. Obviously, if businesses, if everything lasted perfectly forever and ever, it may actually slow down the economy a little bit? Maybe, but we don't know, because one of the things that creates this world where things are kind of designed to break a little bit is that we've fallen into this problem where we think that if everything lasts forever, no one will buy something new. And that's a false reality, because new people are always coming into the mix. New products are always there. Maybe people would spend a little bit more money on a particular product if they know it lasts longer. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. So this begs the question, what about like the cheap Walmart, Dollar General, Dollar Tree type stuff that just kind of blahs out, where we have, you can go into dollar store and buy a $1 item that lasts for, 3 months or 4 months. In fact, here's a perfect example. The keyboard on my, main big computer, it was an old Insignia keyboard, which really isn't a very good brand. Well, I got to the store to get a new combo keyboard and mouse thing, and I'm like, do I spend $20 for the on brand, or go with the extra $25 or $30 for a similar size functionality Logitech? I'm stupid. Okay, I'm stupid. I bought the $20 On system. On is a crappy brand. It is junk. And I've known it was junk for a long time. This was not the revelating, wow, that's junk. No, I knew it was junk. I spent $20. That mouse and keyboard lasted less than a week before it simply stopped working right. It was just goofy. It just stopped really working right. And with that, I look at this going, well, I'm back to the old broken one that was missing a key. I'm like, bummer. Now, fortunately, actually, I did find another keyboard in my closet that'll work better, so I'll do that. But now, if I want to go back to a wireless, I have to go back to the store and spend more money again. I should have just spent a little bit more money to get the thing that lasts a little bit longer. There's no justification why the thing should have stopped working in less than a week, and I'm not sure I still have my receipt to go take it back. So it's a problem when things break too fast. Is it a problem that things break, that things don't break soon enough? No, because I still have keyboards on computers that I've had for years, and they work great, and that's fine. I'm still going to go buy new keyboards because I already trade my monitors around. I don't think I need to be trading the keyboards around either. So there are pros and there are cons of consumerism. But where I'm starting to reject consumerism is when it's so in your face and so in your face and so overmarketed and so much we got to do whatever we can to separate people from their money to buy our products. That's the problem. So always ask yourself before you buy something, do I need the product or service? Am I getting just the latest and greatest because it's the latest and greatest? I guess another good example of that is even my smartphones I buy used. Like a new Galaxy smartphone is, I don't know, $600-700, maybe $800. I did not price the S8s. I can tell you that a new iPhone is around $700. Well, I bought mine used online for $300. That's always a good plan to go with. I don't have warranty. So flipping what? The thing doesn't, you rarely ever need the warranties. You rarely ever need insurances and things. There are cases it's justified. But for the most part, we don't need that kind of stuff. It's just extra money we're wasting. It's cheaper to buy your smartphone used. In fact, I bought my tablet 2015, my iPad, the iPad I have now is an iPad Air 1, I think. I bought it in late 2015. It was used. It has never given me a moment's trouble. I think I paid $200 for it. Rather than paying $400 or $500 for the same product, brand new, get it used. So ask yourself, do you need the latest and greatest? You can save a lot. In fact, I'm on a college campus. Ask students about textbooks. The textbook marketing, those people should be in jail. And I can justifiably say that because I used to work for those people. I helped to sell academic software sales in there. I wasn't in the textbook division, but professors hate textbooks and textbook companies. When I look at the chemistry book that I used as an undergrad, and then I looked at the ones that I taught out of, almost no differences. Except the one I used in undergrad, if I bought just 2 years earlier than the current version, I could buy it on Amazon for less than $5, pay another $5 shipping, and for $10 I have a textbook, which is perfectly adequate. The latest version, $350 for that textbook. That's insanity. What has changed? Nothing. Actually, what they did do is they shifted the problems in the back. They scrambled up the problems a little bit, shifted the numbers around so that when the professor goes to assign problems, they don't line up. That's really what they do. They might throw in a few things. Now, if I look at the textbook I used in chemistry I think I was in chemistry in the late 90s versus now, the textbook has shifted a little bit. Anything super significant? No. The basic fundamentals of Gen Chem is still the same as it was then. In fact, even then, I was still taking a lot of my accessory notes from a Linus Pauling general chemistry textbook written, I think, in the 1950s. I cannot remember exactly. But all the basic concepts were the same. Modern application might change a little bit, but that's nothing that we can't write about in the scope of everything else. So keep that in mind, that consumerism itself in the field of textbooks, because I'm on a college campus right now, it drives students into horrible, horrible, horrible debt. And the only reason they change these is to keep the companies alive. Maybe we should be asking if we can't get these. And that's where companies like OpenStax is a great company. If you're college, gearing towards college, or if you're a professor, look at OpenStax, because they're doing a whole lot of open source, free access textbooks all online, and the books are actually good. They are just as good as any other college textbook. In fact, if you want to pick up a study, go check out OpenStack's website to see, I think it's OPENSTAX.org, I think is their site. Don't quote me on that. I'll try and find it and put it in the video description here if I think of it. But those are some of those things to keep in mind. There is a lot of things that free and open source can drive us to, and we'll still spend money. I promise you. If things stop breaking and stuff lasts longer, we just buy more stuff rather than replacing the stuff over and over. Of course, that's kind of the rub. But with that in mind, let me know your thoughts, because I'm really collecting thoughts. I'm working on a book this year, which is centralized consumerism, weaving in and out. We're going to be doing the talk on planned obsolescence, and I want to know your thoughts on consumerism. So with that, this has been Tom, and thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.